What if the scariest version of DC's Green Arrow isn't a hero at all? Now, if you haven't read them, this is your fair spoiler warning for Absolute Evil and Absolute Green Arrow issue 1 and 2.
Spoiler warning.
In the Absolute universe, Oliver Queen is already dead. He's introduced, set up like he's going to become the Green Arrow, and then brutally killed before his mission can even really begin. But in Absolute Green Arrow, someone is still wearing the hood. Someone's running around killing billionaires and leaving green arrows behind like some kind of warning. So the question is simple. Is this a new Green Arrow? Or is Oliver Queen back from the dead, resurrected by maybe the Lazarus Pit, and driven insane by its madness? Today, we're breaking down Absolute Evil and Absolute Green Arrow issue 1 and 2, the major characters, their pasts and presents, and the reason why I think this terrifying new Archer could still be Oliver Queen. Welcome to Comic Talk. In most iterations of Green Arrow, Oliver Queen is a billionaire who's lost everything, but he gains new perspective and becomes a hero for the people. The Absolute Universe puts a twist on that idea. Oliver is still rich, he's still connected to power, and he still runs businesses like Green Arrow's Trading. But he seems to realize that the billionaire class surrounding him is, let's say, rotten. Before he dies, Oliver is on a mission to go after Jubal Slade, a corrupt billionaire, a former business partner, and a former friend who's connected to horrific crimes. Oliver has the Arrow Cave, he has the gear, and he has the mission. It looks like we're seeing the origins of Absolute Green Arrow. But then, Absolute Evil pulls the rug out right from underneath us. A group of villains are gathering to discuss the ongoing threat of heroes in this universe. Villains like Hector Hammond, Veronica Cale, Ra's al Ghul, and even the Joker. Villains who benefit from the system remaining exactly the way that it is now. Then, Hawke walks in with the corpse of Oliver Queen. This moment changes absolutely everything. Because Absolute Arrow isn't asking, how does Oliver Queen become the Green Arrow? It asks, what happens after Oliver dies and his mission continues on without him? The first issue opens on the murder of Jubal Slade. A mysterious archer breaks into his penthouse, kills his security, and then goes after Jubal himself in a brutal horror movie style attack. The killer then becomes known as the Green Arrow Killer, or the Longbow Killer. And the book immediately creates an uncomfortable question. The victims are horrible people, corrupt, protected, powerful figures who seem to have avoided any real justice. But the Archer is terrifying too. This isn't the classic Green Arrow, with trick arrows, jokes, and a heroic restraint. This version feels like a slasher villain with a bow. So the comic puts us in a weird position. Are we actually watching justice? Or are we watching a monster punish other monsters? That question is what makes the series so enticing. Even though the series is called Absolute Green Arrow, the central character is Dinah Lance. In the main DC universe, Dinah's Black Canary, one of the strongest street-level heroes, and one of Oliver Queen's most important relationships. In the Absolute universe, Dinah is an ex-MMA fighter and an executive protection specialist. So basically, she protects rich people for a living, even though she clearly hates the world they represent. That makes her the perfect lead for this story. Dinah isn't chasing after the Green Arrow because she believes in the billionaires. She's doing it because she needs the money to take care of her sick father. Hector Hammond uses that against her, threatening his health care and forcing Dinah into the case. That tells us everything we need to know about Absolute Green Arrow. The villain doesn't always need powers. Sometimes money can be the superpower. Dinah also has a personal history with Oliver. Years earlier, she knew Oliver when he was working with Jubal Slade and building Green Arrow's trading. She dated Oliver, but the relationship went bad when it was discovered that he was cheating on her. So for Dinah, this isn't just professional. She's investigating a killer who's connected to the ghost of someone she loved, hated, and never fully got closure with. Oliver Queen may be dead, but his presence lingers everywhere. In flashbacks, we see Oliver isn't perfect. He had his ideals, sure, but he also had his blind spots. When accusations start building around Jubal Slade, Oliver doesn't want to immediately believe the worst. He still sees Jubal as his friend, not just a corrupt billionaire, as the underdog who helped him through college. He still wants to see something good inside of him. That's a failure that matters. Oliver's inability to see Jubal for what he truly is may help create the horror that follows. But by the time that he's ready to act, it's too late. He's killed, and he never truly becomes the Green Arrow. In the present, the Green Arrow symbol still lives on. The killer uses the same arrows, and all the suspects are still connected to Oliver. Dinah keeps being pulled back into Oliver's past, and in issue 2, Oliver's biggest secret is revealed. He had a son, Connor Hawke. That changes how we feel about Oliver. He wasn't just a billionaire, a failed boyfriend, or a would-be vigilante. He was also a father who abandoned his child and apparently regretted it before he died. Oliver's past is full of guilt, and the present is full of consequences. The series has already set up 3 possible suspects: Roy Harper, Mia Dearden, and Tom Holloway. Let's start with Roy Harper. In classic Green Arrow history, Roy Harper is one of Oliver's most important legacy characters. He's the original Speedy. Later he becomes Arsenal or Red Arrow, and a mentee to Oliver's Green Arrow. In the Absolute Universe, Roy's still a bit of a mystery. At first, Dinah's informed that he's been out of the country for months, which seems to take him off the board as a suspect. But at the end of issue 2, we're left with a huge cliffhanger. We see Roy digging up Oliver's grave. That immediately makes him important again. Why dig up the grave? Is he trying to make sure that Oliver's really dead? Is he trying to get something off Oliver's body? Or does he already suspect that his body isn't even there? That moment is one of the biggest reasons I think that the resurrection theory holds its own weight. Next, we have Mia Dearden. In DC's main continuity, Mia becomes Speedy and a protege of Oliver's. In the Absolute Universe, she's reworked as a young programmer that Oliver recruited for Green Arrow trading when she was still in high school. Mia is close to Oliver, but she left after the accusations against Jubal Slade started piling up. She wanted Oliver to choose between her and Jubal. Oliver couldn't do it, so Mia walked away. In the present, Mia is angry, political, and completely disillusioned. She challenges Dinah hard, accusing her of protecting the same wealthy class that's exploiting everyone else. Mia has motive. She has rage, and she has the history. But she also gives Dinah the biggest clue in the story so far. Before Oliver died, he asked Mia for help to make arrangements for his son Connor. That makes Mia feel less like the killer and more like someone holding on to Oliver's final secrets. Then there's Tom Holloway. Tom is the strangest suspect because he comes from deeper DC history. He's connected to the Archer identity known as the Spider, a playboy crime fighter who also uses a bow and arrow. Including Tom tells us that this mystery is more than just the obvious Green Arrow family. It's about the larger idea of rich men, masks, weapons, And who gets to decide what justice really means? Connor Hawke is one of the biggest emotional reveals of issue 2. In classic DC, Connor is still Oliver's son and eventually becomes Green Arrow himself. In the Absolute Universe, his story is much shorter and much more tragic. We learn that Oliver abandoned Connor and that Dinah already knew about him because Oliver once mentioned that Connor was his biggest regret. Connor receives a pre-recorded message from Oliver, telling him to come to Star City, collect his inheritance, and to stay away from Oliver's enemies. That tells us that Oliver knew something was coming. He knew he was in danger, and he was trying, maybe too late, to protect the son he left behind. But during Dinah's investigation, Connor is caught in the path of the longbow killer and killed by a poisoned arrow. That death is heartbreaking, no matter who the killer is. If the killer is Oliver, resurrected, and lost to Lazarus madness, that makes the death even more tragic, because it means that Oliver killed the son he was setting out to save. And that feels exactly like the kind of dark twist the Absolute Universe would use. Hector Hammond is one of the most powerful figures in the story. He represents the kind of villain the story's all about. Not just a villain in a costume, but a man with money, influence, and control over other people's lives. He forces Dinah into working for him by threatening her father's healthcare. Malcolm Merlyn is also involved, but instead of being the classic rival archer, he's more of a corporate fixer and investigator who works around Hammond. Then there's Reese Tyler, a hated pharmaceutical CEO who becomes yet another target of the killer. So the point becomes clear. The longbow killer isn't just going after random rich people. He's targeting a network of corrupt power. And that's what makes the story so morally complicated, is that you understand why these people need to be punished, but the way that Green Arrow goes about it is terrifying. One of the creepiest moments so far in the story is the discovery in Oliver's arrow cave. Dinah and Merlyn find a hidden vault, and inside, the body of a young boy. It hasn't decomposed normally, and it's covered in eyes. That moment pushes us past a normal murder mystery. Now, we're dealing with body horror, possible experiments, strange science, or something supernatural. Issue 2 also mentions Miraclo, which could become important later. There's more to it than someone took Oliver's costume. There's clearly something unnatural beneath this entire story. And that brings us to the theory. My theory is that the Green Arrow killer is Oliver Queen, resurrected through the Lazarus Pit. Now, the Lazarus Pit has already been introduced into the Absolute Universe through Ra's al Ghul and the Lazarus Corp. In DC lore, the Lazarus Pit can bring somebody back from the dead or from near death, but usually with some side effects like rage, bloodlust, instability, and madness. That is what we're seeing here. Oliver was murdered, and that left his mission unfinished. His first target, Jubal Slade, was still alive. Then, after Oliver's death, we see a brand new terrifying version of Green Arrow, continuing that mission in the most brutal way possible. That could be Lazarus Madness, and that could be Oliver's sense of justice resurrected without any restraint at all. The hero that he wanted to become may have returned, but is something monstrous. Now, there is evidence that supports this. First, the killer looks and feels almost demonic, not like a person in a suit, and it just feels wrong. Then, Dinah dreams that the Green Arrow is revealed to be Oliver Queen. Sure, it's just a dream, but in a horror mystery, that kind of image usually means something. Next, we have the body in the Arrow Cave. It suggests that unnatural preservation, mutation, or even some resurrection science could be at play. We also see Connor's death that becomes that much more tragic if it turns out Oliver is the killer. It means that the madness has driven him to kill his only son. And finally, we see Roy digging at Oliver's grave. If he opens that grave to discover that Oliver's body isn't there, it changes everything. So my theory is this: Hawkman kills Oliver. Someone takes his body and uses the Lazarus Pit or Lazarus Tech to bring him back. But the Oliver that returns isn't fully Oliver anymore. He remembers the mission, he remembers the corruption, and he remembers the guilt. But the madness of the Lazarus Pit has twisted him. So he doesn't become Green Arrow the hero. Instead, he becomes Green Arrow, the punishment. The theory works because Absolute Green Arrow is all about legacy. What did Oliver leave behind? A fortune? A company? A son? A mission? A symbol? Or a curse? Classic Green Arrow is Robin Hood reimagined. A rich man, angry for the people that the system ignores. Absolute Green Arrow asks the question, what happens when that rage goes too far? What happens when justice becomes horror and the hero returns, but darker? That's why this story fits so well into the Absolute universe. It takes the core idea of the Green Arrow and removes the safety net. No money, no mercy, and no clean hero fantasy. Just a dead man's mission, a killer in the shadows, and a city full of powerful and corrupt people who are finally afraid. That's Absolute Green Arrow so far. Oliver is dead, but his mission is alive. Dinah is caught between survival and morality. Mia might still be holding on to Oliver's final secrets. Connor's story ends in tragedy. Roy might be about to discover the truth. And the Longbow Killer might not be a copycat at all. But what do you think? Is the Absolute Green Arrow Oliver Queen back from the dead? Is it Roy, Mia, Tom, or someone else entirely? And if Oliver is back from the dead, is there still a hero somewhere inside of him? Or is he too far gone? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to Comic Run to make sure that you catch more comic breakdowns, theories, and deep dives.